Hi everyone. Today in this video lecture we are going to learn the stoichiometry calculations. Stoichiometry means the calculation of the amount of the reactants and the products in any given chemical reaction. That means if suppose we are starting the reaction with any amount of reactants or the reactants taken, then after the course of reaction how much of the reactant is left and how much of the product is formed, and if the product is formed, so what is the percentage yield of the product, and if suppose any amount is left unreacted, then what is the amount that is left unreacted. That part is what we call as stoichiometry. Now this in this stoichiometry calculation, question may be in terms of mass, question may be in terms of number of moles, question may be in terms of gram atomic mass, question may be in terms of number of molecules, question may be in terms of volume if the gaseous molecules are reacted. So that we are going to discuss here, that is stoichiometric calculation. So the heading for today's discussion is stoichiometric calculations. So as I told you, the word stoichiometric, this word stoichiometric represents amount of substance in a given reaction. This amount of the given substance, this may be in terms of number of moles, this may be in terms of mass, this may be in terms of number of atoms or molecules, or this may be in terms of volume if gases are involved. So this, and along with this we have to find the percentage. So this means we all know that all this can be interconverted. So we have to express the amount of the substance in terms of volume, in terms of mole, in terms of mass, in terms of atoms or molecules. So now to define these stoichiometric calculations, means to define this amount of substance, what we require to have is we need to have a balanced chemical reaction, need to have a balanced chemical reaction. Now look at this, we have gone through the concept of the amount of substance measured in terms of moles. So we can use the concept of mole for this interconversion between this. So we define this number of moles N is equals to mass of the given substance divided by gram atomic or gram molecular mass. So now look at this, once we have the masses are given, of the mass of the substance is given, and if the formula is known to you, then we can easily define the molecular mass. So once we have the mass, we need the mass ratio to define this number of moles. Or if suppose the number of moles is given and we have to define the mass, then now look at this, mass of the given substance is equals to number of moles multiplied by molecular mass or gram atomic mass. Now if suppose instead of mass, if number of molecules are given, then the number of molecules present in the sample divided by Avogadro number, that is 6.02 into 10 to the power 23. So now once again the number of molecules given, then also we can define number of moles, or if the number of moles given, then also we can define number of molecules. Or if suppose mass is given, we have to define number of molecules, then we have this relationship. Or if number of molecules is to be converted into mass, then also we have this relationship. Now this mass by molar mass, number of molecules divided by Avogadro number, this is applicable to solids, liquids as well as gas. But if suppose solids and liquids and gas, but if suppose the reaction involves gas and 4 gases, we define another value in terms of volume, that is volume of the gas at STP, at standard temperature and pressure. What is the volume occupied by the gas divided by molar volume, that is volume occupied by 1 mole of the gas at STP, which is nothing but 22.4 liter. So now look at this. So this is only for gas. Only for gas. This is not applicable to solids and liquids. Now similarly look at this. So if suppose the volumes are given, then we can define number of moles, or if suppose number of moles is given, then we can convert into volume, or volume into number of molecules, volume into mass, mass into volume, number of molecules into volume. So this is the relationship that we can use for interconversion between number of moles, mass, molecules and the volume of the gas at STP. So this stoichiometry calculation involves this amount in different forms. So now to define or for these stoichiometry calculations, we need to have a balanced chemical reaction. So this reaction will be shown to you, or this reaction may be given in the form of words, and from this we have to balance the chemical reaction. Now this stoichiometry calculation, let me give you just an example here. Suppose we have this relationship, or suppose we have this reaction CH4 gas. Suppose CH4 gas reacts with oxygen gas, when this gives you carbon dioxide gas plus H2O. Suppose this is formed. So now we have to balance the reaction. Carbon is 1, hydrogen being 4, we multiply this water by 2, so that hydrogen comes out to be 4. If you look at this, carbon is balanced, hydrogen is balanced. Now the only thing left is we have to balance the oxygen. So in the right hand side we have 2 plus 2 for oxygen, so left hand side must also have for oxygen, so we multiply this oxygen by 2. Now we have this balanced chemical reaction. Now if you look at this balanced chemical reaction, let's see the coefficients. The coefficients of the reactants in the balanced chemical reactions. Now look at this. Coefficient of this CH4 is 1. So we have 1 coefficient of CH4. Coefficient of oxygen in the balanced reaction is 2. Coefficient of carbon dioxide is 1. Coefficient of water is 2. So these are the stoichiometric coefficients. That means the coefficients of the combining molecules in the reaction. That is reactants and this is product. So we have these coefficients. Now these coefficients in the balanced reaction, these are considered to be the number of moles of the substance that is participating in the chemical reaction. So therefore look at it. Number of moles. Number of moles of CH4 reacting in the balance. This coefficient is nothing but the number of moles of the substance that is being participated in the chemical process. So number of moles of oxygen in the balance reaction is 2. Number of moles of carbon dioxide is 1. Number of moles of water is 2. So this is number of moles. Once we have this number of moles, we can find out number of molecules. Now look at this. We have look at this. Number of moles is equals to number of molecules by Avogadro number. So therefore, number of molecules is number of moles times Avogadro number. Or simply say 1 mole contains 1 Avogadro number. So therefore, number of molecules of CH4 that is being reacted is 1 Avogadro number. Number of moles of oxygen molecule that is being reacting is 2 times Avogadro number. Number of moles of carbon dioxide form is 1 Avogadro number. Number of moles of water formed, that is 2 times Avogadro number. So this is number of molecules. Now let's define in terms of mass. So mass is nothing but the gram molecular mass. Now look at this. Number of moles of CH4 is 1. to 1 mole mass, that is molar mass. Carbon is 12, hydrogen is 1, so 1 into 4, 4, 4 plus 12, 16. So mass of CH4, that is 16 gram of CH4 is the reactant gas. Oxygen, mass of one atom of oxygen is 16. 16 into 4, 16 into 4, 64. So 64 gram oxygen combines with 16 gram CH4. When this gives you 1 mole of carbon dioxide, mass of 1 mole of carbon dioxide is 44 gram, and this gives you 2 moles of water, mass of 1 mole is 18, 18 into 2, 36 grams. So 36 gram of water and carbon as 44 gram of carbon dioxide is formed if 16 gram of methane and 64 gram of oxygen is made to react in a reaction chamber. Now since look at this, we have these reactants and products being gas, we can also have this stoichiometry calculation in terms of volumes at STP. So now look at this, we have 1 mole of CH4 gas. So 1 mole of CH4, number of moles is volume by molar volume. So therefore STP volume is number of moles into 22.4 liters. So we have 1 mole here. So volume of CH4 STP will be 22.4 liters. Now we have 2 volumes of or 2 moles of oxygen. So 2 moles of oxygen means 44.8 liter at STP. We have 1 mole of carbon dioxide, volume will be 22.4. 2 moles of H2O gas, so the volume will be 44.8 liters. So this is the stoichiometry of these reactants and molecules in this reaction in terms of coefficient, in terms of moles, in terms of molecules, in terms of mass, in terms of volumes occupied by the gas at STP, or in terms of simply volume ratio. In terms of simply volume, that is according to Gay-Lussac's law of combining volumes. Now look at this, in this reaction involving gases, the coefficient of the reactants and products can be considered to be the volume. So in this reaction, 1 volume of CH4 combines with 2 volume of oxygen, when this gives you 1 volume of carbon dioxide and the 2 volumes of H2O. So these are what we call as the stoichiometric coefficients or stoichiometry related to this reaction. For this, now as I told you, we need to have a balanced reaction. So normally reaction may not be balanced. So one first thing before doing all this stoichiometry calculation is we need to have a balancing of the reaction. So once we have this balanced reaction, all the relationship can be defined from this stoichiometric coefficient. Now this volume, last two, volume at STP and volume, simply in terms of volume, this volume will be applicable only to the gases, reactants and products, but not applicable to solids and liquids. That thing we have to keep in mind. So now look at it. This is stoichiometric calculation. Now in this stoichiometric calculation, we can also define what is the percentage yield. So the percentage yield, that means how much percentage of the product will be formed starting with some quantity of the reactant. So this percentage yield is equals to experimental or observed mass experimental or observed mass form divided by theoretical or calculated mass from the balance reaction. So this is the theoretical or calculated mass. Experimental or observed mass form. Multiply this by 100. So this gives you the percentage. So experimental value or the actual value which is obtained in the after chemical reaction. So this is sometimes known as observed value or the experimental value or the actual value. Then the one expected from theoretical value, that is calculated based on this stoichiometry. So that is always the maximum value that could be expected. So theoretical value is always greater than experimental value. We take this ratio, multiply this by 100. This gives you the percentage yield of the product formed in the chemical reaction. So for this we need to have, again look at this balance. From this balance reaction, either we need to have number of moles or we need to have mass. So once we have this, we get this ratio, multiply this by 100. This gives you percentage yield or the percentage of the product formed in a given chemical reaction. Now the problem arises, we have a chemical reaction. Now in this chemical reaction, we can start this reaction by taking any amount of CH4 and oxygen. So we can start the reaction by any amount of the combining reactants. So in this reaction, one of the reactants may be taken in large excess, whereas one of the reactant may be taken in a small amount. So now look at this. The problem arises, which one should be considered for defining the quantity of the product? If this is the case, then how could we define the quantity of product or the mass of product form? So to define this, we define another one more concept, that is what we call as limiting reagent. Limiting reagent. So simply written as LR. So this limiting reagent will help us in finding what is the mass of the product form, or how many moles of product will be formed, or how many volumes of product will be formed. And this limiting reagent will also help in defining which particular reactant is consumed in the reaction and which particular reactant is left unreacted. If suppose one of the reactant is left unreacted, how much is left unreacted, or the one which is taken in excess amount. So to define all these terms, we need to have a concept which is known as limiting reagent. So let's explain this limiting reagent. First of all, let's define this limiting reagent. First, let's define, then I'll give you example how to find this limiting reagent. So now the word limiting reagent, so there are different definitions given in different books, or different authors use for different definition, but ultimately the final conclusion remains the same. Whether we have the one form or the two another form, final result will always be the same. So one of the definition of this limiting reagent is the reagent which is 100% consumed in a given chemical reaction. So any reagent which is totally consumed or 100% consumed is the one which is present in lesser quantity. That quantity is known as limiting reagent. A reagent which is present in lesser quantity and is always 100% consumed in a reaction. So fourth definition is any reagent which is present in less quantity and which is always 100 or totally consumed in the chemical reaction, this is known as a limiting reagent. Then we have another definition. Now, the reagent which is 100% consumed, once one of the reagent is 100% consumed, then the reaction will stop. The reaction will continue as long as both the reagents are present in the reaction. If one of the reaction is totally consumed, then no further reaction will take place, means reaction will stop. So that particular reagent which controls the reaction, means which controls or limits the amount of product formation, is also known as limiting reagent. So reagent which controls or limits the product formation I repeat this again, because now look at it, in any given chemical reactions, we need to have both the reactants, so the reaction continues. If one, at certain point of time, if one of the reactant is consumed, then obviously there is no reactant left, so reaction will stop. So at that particular point, the formation of product will also stop. So that particular reagent which is present in lesser amount will control the reaction and the amount of product formation. So when in any given chemical reaction, so when we have to define the amount of product form, then first thing is we have to define the limiting reagent, because that limiting reagent will control how much of the product will be formed. Once this limiting reagent is totally consumed, no more product formation, means reaction will stop. So that reagent which controls or limits the product formation is also known as limiting reagent. Or we can also have another definition. Now we have taken these reactants in different amounts. So in any given chemical reaction, the reactant which gives you the least value of the product, the reactant which gives you the least value of the product will always be the limiting reagent. Because why this gives the least value of the product? Because look at this controls the product formation. If this controls the product formation, means this is 100% consumed. So the 100% consumed is the one which is present in the lesser quantity. So next definition could be a reagent which gives the least value of the product. The reagent which gives the least value of the product is also known as limiting reagent. So now look at this, whether you use any of this definition, the final is always the same. Final conclusion meaning the same. So whether this defined in terms of the least value of the product formation, or which controls the product formation, or which is consumed in the chemical reaction, all this gives you a particular reagent concept which is known as limiting reagent. So in any given stoichiometric calculations, okay, first thing we have to define is we have to define this limiting reagent first. Once we define limiting reagent is defined, we can easily define how much of the product will be formed, and the amount of the reactant, another reactant which is present in excess quantity, and how much of this reactant excess quantity is left unreacted in the given chemical reaction. So after the chemical reaction, we can also find the composition of the reacting mixture. So this is the concept of limiting reagent. Now look at this. To define this limiting reagent, one thing that we have to keep in mind is to define, and you want the point to be noted, not thoroughly. Now to define this limiting reagent, what we need to have is we need to have the balanced chemical reaction. So the first thing that we have to keep in mind is a very important point here. The reaction must be balanced. The reaction must be balanced. So before starting with this, the concept of limiting reagent or defining this limiting reagent in any given chemical reaction, first thing is we have to balance the reaction. So once we have this balanced reaction, we take this balanced reaction as a reference for measuring this limiting reagent. because in any given chemical reaction some stoichiometric ratios are involved, but the actual given in the chemical reaction may be different. So we have to correlate the actual value with the value defined in the balanced chemical reaction. So if the initial quantity given is more than the quantity required based on this balanced reaction, then that is one we call as the one which is present in excess quantity. If the initial value given for this chemical reaction is less than the required from the balanced reaction, and that is what we call as the limiting reagent. So we have to correlate the value for the balanced reaction. So first thing that we have to keep in mind is the reaction must be completely balanced. Second thing that we have to keep in mind is if both the reactants are 100% consumed as per the balanced reaction, then the limiting reagent cannot be defined. So for defining this limiting reagent, one of the reagent must be present in excess quantity, the other one which is present in the lesser quantity is known as the limiting reagent. Limiting reagent cannot be defined if both the reactants are totally consumed. So again I am repeating, if both the reactants are completely consumed in the reaction, we cannot define which one is the limiting reagent. So to define this limiting reagent, one of the reactant must be present in excess quantity and the another must be present in lesser quantity. So once we have this, we can easily define this limiting reagent. Now this definition will be clear if I give you an example here. So let me give you the example here. So let's take this example. Now we have this reaction, hydrogen gas combines with oxygen gas, and this gives you H2O liquid water formation. Now already reaction is being balanced here. So we have this reaction, 1 mole of hydrogen combines with half mole of oxygen, and this gives you 1 mole of liquid water. Now balance reaction, this is the balance reaction. So balance reaction says 1 mole combining with half mole, and this gives you 1 mole of liquid water. Now suppose if the reaction is started with 8 grams of hydrogen and 8 grams of oxygen. Now the question says how many grams of either how many moles of water will be formed. So initial, that is the one which are starting with the reaction. So initial given, this is the one obtained from the balanced reaction. So we need to have this balanced reaction. Now initially given conditions, we can start with any amount of hydrogen and oxygen to form carry out the chemical reaction. So suppose we started with 8 grams of hydrogen and 8 grams of water. How many grams of water will be formed? Question A. So first of all, look at this. We have to define what is the limiting reagent. So now this is initial in terms of mass. Now we can define this in terms of moles. So therefore this can be defined in terms of moles. Moles is mass divided by molar mass. So mass is 8. Molar mass of hydrogen molecule is 2. So we have 4 moles. We are starting with 4 moles of hydrogen gas. Now mass of oxygen is 8. Molecular mass of oxygen is 32. So we have 32 grams. So that is 1/4, 0.25. So we are starting with 4 moles of hydrogen and 0.25 moles of oxygen gas. So this is the moles corresponding to 8 grams. Now look at this. So first of all is we have to define the limiting reagent. Now as I told you, first thing is we have to balance the chemical reaction. So reaction is already balanced here. Now if you look at this balanced reaction, in the balanced reaction 1 mole of hydrogen always reacts with half mole of oxygen. So therefore look at this. In the balance reaction, so we are starting with this balance reaction. 1 mole of hydrogen requires 0.25 mole of oxygen gas. So this is the one which is obtained from 1 mole of hydrogen always reacts with half mole of oxygen gas. This is the one obtained from this balance reaction. Now look at it. If 1 mole of hydrogen requires half mole of oxygen, so now look at this. The actual number of moles of hydrogen given is 4. So therefore 4 mole of hydrogen will require 4 by 2, that is 2 moles of oxygen. So for this 4 moles of hydrogen gas which is initially given, how many moles of oxygen is required? Now requirement of oxygen for 4 moles of hydrogen gas is 2, but how much of oxygen is given here? Only 2.5. So requirement is more than the initial which is given in the reaction. So since requirement is 2, present in the initial reaction mixture is 0.25, so requirement is more than the initial amount given. So therefore this limiting reagent is oxygen, is the limiting reagent. I hope this point is clear. So let me explain again. We have this balance reaction. 1 mole of hydrogen always combines with half mole of oxygen. So every 1 mole of hydrogen will combine with half mole of oxygen to give you 1 mole of water. But in the given chemical reaction, we are starting with 4 moles of hydrogen and 0.25 moles of oxygen gas. So if 1 mole hydrogen requires half mole of oxygen, then the 4 moles will require 2 moles of oxygen. So the requirement of oxygen for 4 moles of hydrogen is 2, but initial amount given is 2.5. So requirement is 2, present is 2.5. So requirement being greater than the given which is in the reaction mixture, limiting reagent is oxygen. We require 2, but given is 0.25. So that means oxygen is present in the lesser quantity. So the one which is present in the lesser quantity is known as the limiting reagent. So we define this oxygen as the limiting reagent. So if suppose this is the limiting reagent, then let's define how much of this of hydrogen is left unreacted. Hydrogen left unreacted, because if this is a limiting reagent, hydrogen is present in excess quantity, unreacted. Now again look at this. In this balance reaction, for every half mole of oxygen, we require 1 mole of hydrogen gas. So therefore look at this. Half mole of oxygen requires 1 mole of hydrogen gas. So if half mole of oxygen requires 1 mole of hydrogen, then 1 mole of oxygen will require 2 moles of hydrogen. So if 1 mole requires 2 moles of hydrogen, then actual amount of oxygen given is 0.25. So therefore 0.25 moles of oxygen will require 2 into 0.25 moles of hydrogen, that is 0.5 moles of hydrogen. So 1 mole requirement is 2 moles of hydrogen, so 0.25 will require 2 times this value, that is 0.5. Now look at this. The requirement of hydrogen for 0.25 moles of oxygen is 0.5, but the present is 4. So therefore hydrogen left is initial mole, that is 4, minus amount reacted, that is 0.5. So this comes out to be 3.5. So 3.5 mole of hydrogen remains unreacted, that is hydrogen is present in the excess quantity. So once we have this, We can define this in terms of mass, because multiply this 3.5 into molecular mass of hydrogen. So we say mass of hydrogen left is equals to number of hydrogen left into gram atomic mass or gram molecular mass, that is 2. So that is 3.5 into 2, that is 7. So 7 gram remains unreacted. So only 1 gram out of this 8 gram reacts. So now if this is the case, question says what is the mass of water? Now since this being the limiting reagent, the moment this oxygen is consumed, formation of water will stop, means reaction will stop. So the amount of water formed will be defined from the limiting reagent. So whenever we define the limiting reagent, from this limiting reagent we can find the amount of the product formed. So again look at this. Water formation. So we have to find the amount of water formed. Again look at this. From the balance reaction, half mole of oxygen gives 1 mole of water. So half mole of oxygen will always give you 1 mole of water. So therefore 1 mole of oxygen will give how many? 2 moles of water. Now the actual number of moles of oxygen reacted is 0.25. So therefore 0.25 moles of oxygen will give 2 into 0.25 moles of water. So this gives you 0.5 moles of water. So the number of moles of water formed when we mix 8 gram of hydrogen and 8 gram of oxygen is 0.5. So therefore number of moles of water formed is 0.5. So therefore mass of water formed will be 0.5 into gram molecular mass of water, that is 18. So this comes out to be 9 grams. So when we mix this 8 gram of water, hydrogen and 8 gram of oxygen, the mass of water formed will be 9 gram, or the amount of water in terms of number of moles will be 0.5. This is the limiting reagent, is the oxygen. So how much of oxygen is left unreacted is 3.5 mole or 7 gram. So this is how we define the limiting reagent. So now look at this. In this we have defined another definition, the one which gives the least value of the product. We can also define in this way. This is for your convenience, I am showing you. Now if you look at this, 1 mole of hydrogen gives you 1 mole of water. So hydrogen, look at this. 1 mole hydrogen gives 1 mole water. So number of moles of hydrogen given is 4. So therefore 4 mole hydrogen will give you 4 moles of water. So in terms of hydrogen, number of moles of water form is, so number of moles of water form is 4. Now take this oxygen. In the balance reaction, look at this. Half mole gives you 1 mole. So half mole oxygen gives 1 mole H2O. So therefore 1 mole of oxygen will give you 2 moles of water, and the actual number of moles of oxygen given is 0.25. So 0.25 mole of water will give you 2 into 0.25. So this is 0.5 moles. So taking this oxygen, number of moles of water form is 0.5. Now one the definition for defining limiting reagent is the reagent which gives you the least value of the product. So considering this hydrogen, the amount of water form will be 4. Considering this oxygen, amount of water form is 1. Now look at this. Out of this, oxygen gives you the least value, that is 0.5. Hydrogen gives you the 4. So the one which gives you the least value of the product, so this oxygen will be considered as the limiting reagent. So all this, look at this, is correlated to the balanced chemical reaction. So we have to relate the initial amount which is given in the reaction container for starting the chemical reaction with the balance reaction. Only then we can define this limiting region. Once we define this limiting region, we can define what is the amount left unreacted of the excess quantity and what is the amount of the product formed. So this is one example. I'll give you one more example so that this becomes clear to you. So take this chemical reaction. Nitrogen reacts with hydrogen to give you ammonia gas. So we have this balance reaction. Now if you look at this balance reaction, this is the initial given. Initial says 56 gram of nitrogen is made to react with 18 gram of hydrogen. Then what is the mass of ammonia gas that will be formed in the given chemical reaction? So look at this is initial. So we can convert this initial into number of moles. So number of moles is 56 divided by gram molecular mass of nitrogen is 28. So this comes out to be 2. Number of moles of hydrogen is 18 divided by 2. So this is 9. So look at it. Now balance reaction. Balance equation says 1 mole of nitrogen will always react with 3 mole of hydrogen to give you 2 moles of ammonia. So this is the balance reaction. This is initially which is introduced in the reaction container for this chemical reaction to take place. So now look at this. From the balance reaction, which says 1 mole requires 3 mole. So first thing is we have to define the limiting reagent. So balance reaction, balance equation says 1 mole nitrogen requires 3 mole hydrogen gas. This is from the balanced chemical reaction. So for every 1 mole of nitrogen, we require 3 moles of hydrogen. The actual number of moles of nitrogen given is 2. So therefore 2 mole of nitrogen will require 3 into 2 mole of hydrogen gas, that is 6 moles of hydrogen gas is required for 2 moles of nitrogen that is being introduced in the given chemical reaction. Now look at this. The requirement of hydrogen for 2 moles of nitrogen is 6. But how much is present? So requirement is less than the initial amount present. So therefore, since the requirement of hydrogen for 2 moles of nitrogen gas is 6, but the initial amount is 9, which is greater than the requirement. So therefore, nitrogen is our limiting reagent and hydrogen is present in excess because requirement is 6, amount given is 9. So that means more than the requirement is present here. So therefore, hydrogen is present in excess. If hydrogen is present in excess, then our limiting reagent is nitrogen. So if this is the case, now let's define what is the amount of product formed. So ammonia formed. So formation of, as we have discussed in the just before in this example, product formation will always be decided by the limiting reagent, because this being the one which is present in the smaller quantity will be 100% consumed. The moment this limiting reagent is consumed, reaction will stop, means formation of ammonia will stop. So how much of ammonia is being formed will be decided by this limiting reagent. So now look at this again from balance reaction. So balance equation says 1 mole of nitrogen will always give you 2 moles of ammonia. 1 mole nitrogen gives 2 mole ammonia. So the number of moles of ammonia given in the reaction is 2. So therefore 2 mole of nitrogen will give you 4 mole of ammonia. So therefore number of moles of ammonia formed will be 4. So if this is the number of moles of ammonia formed, so therefore mass of ammonia formed, mass is number of moles multiplied by gram molecular mass. So number of moles is 4, gram molecular mass is 17, nitrogen is 14, hydrogen is 1, so 14 plus 3 is 17. So 68 gram of ammonia will be formed, or 4 moles of ammonia will be formed if we combine 56 gram with 18 gram of hydrogen. So now let's find hydrogen left unreacted. So again look at this. In the balance reaction, we have just defined hydrogen requirement was 6 mole. For this 2 moles. So hydrogen left is initial minus, so number of moles of hydrogen left initial is 9. Requirement for 2 moles of nitrogen is 6. 9 minus 6, so we have 3 moles of hydrogen gas left unreacted. So therefore mass of hydrogen left is number of moles into gram molecular mass, that is 2, so 6 gram left unreacted. So after this chemical reaction, hydrogen left is 3 mole or 6 gram. Ammonia form is 4 moles or 68 grams. So look at this, all this reaction requires this balancing of this reaction. After this we have to find the limiting reagent. Once we define this limiting reagent, we can define the product form and the amount left unreacted, which is present in excess quantity. So this is an example of limiting reagent. So once we know the concept of limiting reagent, we can apply this in stoichiometric calculations.